Thunderbolts. What went wrong? So much promise, so much hope. It was looking like the future of the MCU. We were kicking off 2025. You know, we had 3 films to look forward to this year, and they were all really hyped. Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four still yet to come out, obviously. But we can just say the first 2 haven't really gone to plan, and Marvel would definitely be the ones to agree with that. You know, I've got some box office numbers just straight off the bat. I mean, first off, Thunderbolts has unfortunately had a bit of a disaster at the box office, coming in at only $371 million, and it reportedly needed about 425 to 450 million to break even. Although the production budget was only about 180 million, the actual run of the press and, you know, to actually get the film out, basically, you know, they film it in the budget of filming it on the day is one thing, but to actually produce it and get it out is literally the exact same budget, like doubled, you know, so it's always really expensive. But, you know, Captain America 4 only just passed 400 million, even though, you know, that was a somewhat good for them, a good start to the year, but it only just passed that number. You know, we had the Marvels, was that last year or the year before? That only got 206 million worldwide for a Marvel film. That is insane. I can't even believe that is all it got. Like, and the amount of build up that actually had compared to some other projects. You know, you had the Marvel's Disney Plus show. You obviously had the Captain Marvel films before that. Monica Rambeau had been in several projects, so like they can't say they didn't hype that one up. It's just been a bit of a disaster for Marvel, and this video isn't just to talk about Thunderbolts and what went wrong there. It's also to talk about where we sit with Marvel and what actually is the future of the MCU. I did kind of touch on that in my previous Fantastic Four video. You should go and check it out if you haven't seen it already. It's just me, you know, talking about the trailer and the hype and everything, but it actually kind of goes into a little bit about why I think they're the future of the MCU and how they can save the MCU. But if we just talking about the current state of affairs, I mean, it's one of the lowest grossing films in all of Disney Marvel Cinematic Universe history. Like, that doesn't make sense, especially because it had great reviews, like glowing reviews, and not just glowing reviews from like film critiques. It actually had the audience. I felt like if you were on X or Twitter, whatever, if you were on these platforms when the film came out, it very much felt like the audience supported this, wanted it to succeed. They gave their support. They went and saw the film. You know, everyone was talking about it in good light. There were jokes being made. So I can't really understand where this is not translated to box office numbers. Normally when a film has not just like film Twitter, but general audience Twitter, it actually performs quite well. Not only that, it had a great cast. You know, if we were just to go through a couple of the key standout names, you've obviously got Florence Pugh, who is arguably the lead of the Thunderbolts in a way. They kind of, even though Bucky comes across as more like the actual leader, like the Captain America type figure, Florence Pugh's character, Yelena, there we go, it came to me just in time, does come across as the main character of this film, and the way that she deals with Sentry, you know, Lewis Pullman's character, is amazing. They have a great relationship, and I see probably a bit of a future for their relationship, actually. There was a few moments that played on that, but overall Sentry as well was brilliant. And this isn't really a breakdown of Thunderbolts, it's just to name some key points. Sentry was actually a fantastic villain and hero. You know, he played that role really, really well. It didn't feel as epic as all other Marvel films, but it wasn't meant to be. The whole film did it very much played on mental health and, you know, issues of team bonding and building to start with. And that really felt like a core team Avengers-y sort of superhero film, and I thought it had legs. Like, the film worked for me. I thought it was really good. I thought it had great action sequences. I thought it had great chemistry between not only just the characters, but they also had great energy with the villains, and that's really, really important, because having that great energy with the villain is really important. You know, Valentina is a great villain here. She pulls together everyone so well. She has a great grip on the situation whilst having no powers whatsoever, and that's always an interesting character. I felt the same about Nick Fury in the same sort of way. You know, this is a modernized sort of anti-version of that, if you like. Now, that's a small talking about the actual film itself, which, as I said, I enjoyed, and I think a lot of people as well really enjoyed it. But that's not why it failed. That's not why it's considered a box office flop. That's not what I'm here to really talk about. Now, I am going to kind of ramble here a little bit. The structure of the video is pretty much gone now. So here we go. I think Marvel have done a disservice and discredited the general audiences. General audiences are what keeps films going. You always have diehards that will go and see the films. Marvel will always make that 100, 200, 300, 400 million. They'll always be able to make that because there's enough people like me who buy all this merchandise, who love it all so much, who want to make videos about it for a living. You have people like me who will always go and watch it, and there's loads of me, millions of me that exists. However, general audiences do not care like they used to. They do not want to subscribe to Disney Plus. There's barely any marketing for what comes out. A lot of it seems very random. And when it does come out, it's just 8 episodes of 30 minutes of slop. It is slop. Everything that's come out has been rubbish. Even if the things I like, I love Moon Knight, but we've never seen him again. We've never seen him before. We've never seen him since. Oscar Isaac's a huge actor. Why would a general audience constantly keep coming back when they're not being given what they want, right? Audiences, you need to play into them. That's why they've lent so harsh into cameos since Endgame, because the plan has just gone out the window. Kang has gone out the window. They haven't been able to bring a grip back to these audiences that have kept them going for so long. It was so easy to buy into the earlier iterations of this. Civil War, had all these different characters, but it all was just one easy, coherent story. And they've never managed to be able to replicate that on the same level, like halfway through a saga. They've done the Avengers films, but like a Civil War was like a real good middle ground of like bringing in these new characters, your Black Panther, your Spider-Man, making these elite characters work together on screen. And they haven't been able to commit to that since. They've clearly had an issue with actors as well, passing through the roles. Thor 4 massively failed, which I don't think helped Chris Hemsworth's image within the Marvel Cinematic Universe and people wanting more of his films. It's trying to pass in from that old guard to new guard. Spider-Man ended in a bit of a kind of weird way. We're not sure where that's going at the moment. It doesn't really feel too clear. Kang obviously was meant to be this big villain, and we saw him in Ant-Man, and that didn't really lead to anywhere either. We've had all these TV series. Loki's now super powerful. Thanos is gone. Who is this new big bad, right? All we've had is this really quick, not even any film footage, just Robert Downey Jr. sat in a chair and told that we need to be careful of Doom. And that's why I think they've pushed back the next Doom film, the next Avengers film, because, well, I've actually heard another theory which really does make sense to me. It was meant to be the film was meant to be coming out a week after GTA 6, which I just think is a really bad idea. So I think that's a big reason why they've pushed it out as well. But I really think they're going to try and world build a little bit between now and then. And I think Fantastic Four is going to be a really huge film. It seems like we're going a bit more back to basics again. And for me, that's really what Marvel needs to draw in that audience. They're bringing in Marvel's first family back. Everyone's seen the original Fantastic Four films. That's what would have got people into Marvel in the first place. That's what's going to bring them back into Marvel. That's what they're hoping, right? And that's what I'm hoping for as well. I want them just to go back to making good films, and I just hope they react in the right way. Sometimes, I know this sounds bad, but I love sport. As I say with a lot of sports teams, you sometimes need them to fail a little bit and need them to fail hard for them to go, we need to pull our finger out. You know what I mean? And we need to get on with stuff. So I do trust in Marvel. I do hope they can come back. I'm so excited for Fantastic Four. Let me know what you guys think about all this, and why did Thunderbolts fail? Can Marvel bring back their general audiences? Is Fantastic Four going to be enough? Does Doomsday need to be, way beyond everyone's expectations? Is it even going to make everyone's expectations? So many questions, so many good videos to make, so many things to talk about. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.